I've been in there for 20 years. I've seen those people are the only ones that I've seen any kind of progressive, elemental, positive movement to anything that accomplishes anything. The R's and D's, they're in the septic tank, and everybody knows what's in the septic tank. We all have a septic tank out here. And the Republicans and the Democrats all wallow and wash their bodies in that and drink it. And
I appreciate that imagery. I really do.
I figured you would, Josh.
Okay, thanks.
Josh is a lot like my son. He's, you know, just good influence.
So you have an insane son?
No,
Oh.
he's I wish I could get him on this show. In fact, somewhere down the road, it would be. I think I could get Chrissy in here.
Well, hey, if you want to learn more about this,
what I would like to do is anybody out there that would affiliate themselves with being a Pahrump Patriot, a Nye County Militia member, contact this show, contact Harley's show, contact Ray Mellor's show, Luton the Flag Man, and voice your views. Tell us, tell me, tell Chris and Josh what you would like to do. If you'd like to get established with this. If, in fact, you do, certain things will take place down the road, and we'll get everybody together. And
even more importantly, come out, meet with Mike, come to the Independent American Party Convention out here on April 12th. You'll be able to meet with him. We could have some sign-up stuff. You'll be able to talk to Mike. We'll be able to discuss those issues. That would be some of the things that we can talk about.
I want to emphasize,
be sure to come out.
When he says
April 12th. 10 a.m., right across the street from the station, folks.
When he says Pahrump Patriots, this is not the Patriot akin to the Patriot Act. Like, in fact, the very opposite.
No, wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. The Patriot Act was properly named. When you name the war on drugs, okay, so the Patriot Act was out to destroy patriots. It was properly named. Now, I don't like that inference that you think that that was named wrong. You know it was properly named.
You know how many pages long that Patriot Act is?
700 and some odd. And they had it written in one day, supposedly.
Oh, not only that, they also, after they had discussed it, the Congress had discussed it. And then they took the one that Congress had discussed and brought in the one that was written by the former communist that it was working for Bush, and they replaced it with that one right on the floor. Nobody had ever read that thing when they voted for it.
I don't even care if it goes that far. The fact of the matter is you can't have a floor vote on a 700-page document. I don't care what was in it that quickly. So
you can't do it.
It wouldn't have mattered if they switched it because no one read whatever the first version was.
Hey, we got to get John back up here.
Okay. Pahrump Patriots, Nye County Militia.
Absolutely. Think about it.
And we'll probably be talking about this on subsequent shows.
Ray's show.
That's
Harley's show.
Absolutely. But be sure to come out on April 12th so that you can meet Mike if you haven't met him before.
I think a lot of people in this town have.
Okay.
All right, well, now is my favorite portion of the show. It's time to hand out the most prestigious award in what I would consider the entire planet, Jackass of the Week. Now, some weeks I have issues, not normally, but this week it's like, who deserves it? John McCain gets it. And John McCain doesn't just get it for being a jackass this week. John McCain gets it for being a jackass, period, in like the grand scheme of jackasses. I only touched slightly on the news article about him talking about we don't need the government to get involved in bailing out the mortgage market. Well, I agree that the government shouldn't be involved other than by be involved, I mean don't get involved, which is what's caused the problems up to this point. But when he refers to the Federal Reserve as the government, it tells you exactly the problem with having this man in as president. Not that there aren't a litany of other problems, but we can really focus on that one. John McCain, I've been looking for an excuse, not that they were hard to find, but there were so many others. This week, though, you rose to the top of the septic tank.
The septic tank, I like that one. But we have a great Sovereign of the Week award this week. It goes to a man named Ed Haas. I want to really ask all of you to go to Muckraker, their Muckraker report, muckraker.com. Ed Haas wrote a question to the Internal Revenue Service. He said, what happens if I get paid a $50 gold coin minted since 1986 with a new minting? Remember, the government's minting them. We've talked about it before on the show. They have changed their position. This is huge. They said that if you were paid a $50 gold coin, that you were to report it on an income tax form as $50. Now, let me tell you how important that is, folks. If you were to receive the equivalent, if you're married filing jointly, the equivalent of the level where you'd have to file is it's called $17,500 right now, $17,500, which means if you were paid that in gold coins, the $50 gold coins that they said to report at face value, before you would have to file, you wouldn't even be required to file, even if all of the garbage laws and everything you want to fight over the income tax, forget that. Just say you were actually required to file, which you're not. But if you were, you would have to have 350,000 Federal Reserve notes.
Basically, at the current rate of exchange, you're talking about a 20 times for all the different brackets. Multiply them by 20.
$350,000 before you'd have to file a return. This is huge, folks. Then they say if you sold those coins, you'd only have to report them at capital gains tax, which is 15%. So if somebody's in a 30% tax bracket, you cut your tax in half by what? By getting paid in gold coin. Now, if you owned your own business and you paid yourself, you should be real smart and start paying yourself in gold coin and not Federal Reserve. Now, we're tracking this down more, but at the moment, you can find that both on the Independent American Party website. Go down and look at the start that says 50, the line that says $50 equals $50, or on Muckraker Report. Go to them and find out. The letter's right in there. The email is in there from the IRS. Her name was Mrs. King. We've got her badge number.
In fact, I think most importantly, if any of you are out there, this is the more letters you get, the better.
Oh.
So if you're thinking, hey, I want to look into this, but after you look into it, don't just look into it and go, oh, that's interesting. Write the IRS. Say, hey.
Write your congressman.
What should I do? And write your congressman as well. Write him, ask him. Say, hey, what do I do with this?
Now, one of the other things about this show, remember, it's what can you do as a sovereign American to do something? This was one individual. His name is Ed Haas. He decided to track down this issue because of the Bobby Kerry trial, because of the Alex Loglia trial, because of the Good as Gold article that was written in Liberty Watch magazine with Joel Hansen on the cover. Joel's been a guest here on the show. He just wrote in a couple of things, made a couple of phone calls. As one person, he has really, really accomplished something huge that can be used all over the United States just by writing an email, not even a letter, just by making a few phone calls. One person can have a breakthrough where somebody else doesn't, folks. You can make a difference in America today. You can, just by the little things, the small things. Through small things are great things brought to pass. And this letter, folks, it's huge. My brother, the attorney, was looking at this. He was laughing so hard. He was cheering. He said, man, this is going to make all the difference in the trial. So if the judges, who are totally corrupt, actually let this stuff in, it's fantastic. This is a stake through the heart of the villainous Dracula IRS, folks.
All right, he's ranting again, so I'm cutting him off, even though it sounded like he was doing it naturally anyway. We're going back to John because he's the guest, and, well, Christopher is not the guest.
Right. How does the IRS feel about the Independent American Party feel about the IRS?
Well, I don't think we're very good friends. In fact, I don't like the IRS.
They stopped inviting me to their parties weeks ago.
Weeks?
Right. Just saying.
The IRS, the Federal Reserve, all these unconstitutional organizations which are created to keep us enslaved, really.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel about them.
Absolutely.
So how do we feel about, how would you say the IAP feels in general about alphabet soup organizations? Just insert FD something
Yeah,
there.
right. Yeah, boy. I just don't see where in the Constitution it permits us to create all of these organizations that take away our freedoms.
You must not have an advanced degree.
Wow, I don't have an advanced degree, but I do know there are 7 articles in the U.S. Constitution that I have read, and I don't see where that was legislated in there.
Now, your wife works for the district attorney's office.
Yes, that's true.
Did you know that the district attorney's office is currently having a little bit of difficulty?
I didn't know that.
The IRS is currently auditing them.
Oh.
Now, under what clause in the Constitution do you know any place where the IRS could actually audit a state agency?
Where can the IRS